And we are live for Altered Moments. I'm Kimberly Stevens, your host, and I'm really excited to welcome a guest today, Chad Free. But before we get to that, what is an altered moment? An altered moment is a moment of divine inspiration where God enters our lives and changes us, and we are never the same. I believe God is still alive and well and changing lives in 2024. And I'm excited to welcome Chad Free to our stream today. Welcome, Chad.
Hey, how are you, Kimberly? I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. So for our audience, if you don't know Chad Free, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's an entrepreneur, a speaker, an author, and a wealth strategist. He's the co-founder of Black Diamond Money Moves and managing partner with Black Diamond Estate Strategies. And I'm going to read this to you because I think it's very impressive and I don't want to miss out on any words. But he is nationally recognized as a leading authority and the #1 strategist for building true wealth. Chad uses a combinational approach to wealth creation. His mission is not only to help people build external wealth through proven strategies that guarantee profitability, but to also provide internal wealth. And I love this. He's dedicated to empowering others to pursue their purpose, unlock their potential, become fully present, and experience real peace, both personally and financially. Chad lives in South Carolina in Fountain Inn. And he is married to his lovely bride, Dana, and he has 2 sons, Clayton and Jackson.
That's
Welcome,
it.
Chad.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited for you to be here.
I'm excited to be here. I always love sharing my story. And when I heard your story, I just saw the alignment was just there. And, God is really good all the time. And just putting us up in each other's life and crossing our paths is truly a blessing.
Absolutely. So Chad was referring to, just for our listeners, I have written a book called Altered, Finding Hope Through Grit and Gratitude to Never Give Up. And my book is just a series of altered moments in my life. Moments where God showed up and got me through some incredibly difficult things. So if you are interested, you can find my book on Amazon. And again, it's called Altered, Finding Hope Through Grit and Gratitude to Never Give Up. That is my dog. His name is Coolman. We are a dog-friendly podcast since there is no one here to rein him in while we're talking. And before Chad starts telling us about his book and his mission and his life, just a reminder to everyone who's listening today, whether you're listening live or you are coming to us on the replay, share this out to your friends and family. We're broadcasting on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and we did not quite get on LinkedIn today. Next time we'll be on LinkedIn as well.
That's right.
Share this out. So Chad, you have a book coming out.
Yes.
And I won't steal your thunder. Give us a little insight on your book, why you wrote it, and when it's coming.
So yeah, it's a book that I am now just a little bit over a year into, and we're excited to say that we're looking at a release date probably sometime in middle of April next month. And so it's called The Mindset and Money Revolution. And it literally is a story, yet it's a book full of principles and some applications that I believe that can help you build true wealth. And all of this comes from, believe it or not, my altered moment, Kimberly. It comes from my altered moment. And
I love this.
I was so convicted, and it became a calling. My altered moment called my calling out of me, if you will, to where I had to make this my signature message. and truly get the message out to help as many people as I can.
I love it. I love it. So tell us the name of the book.
It's Mindset and Money Revolution. And you can go to the site there to pre-order that book, mindsetandmoneyrevolution.com. You can go there and you'll get an autographed book from me mailed to you. And I'm looking so forward to doing it. You know, I hadn't really broadcasted it. I've kind of been working in silent, right? Only a few people know, but we're at the time now that we're really going to start getting out and promoting that and doing some pre-sales. And, you know, it's a calling, it's a mission, and hopefully it's going to help a lot of people put money in its place and really have a relationship with money like it was intended to be. And that's not replacing who our source is, and God is our source, not money. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about that.
Awesome. And if we go to mindsetandmoneyrevolution.com, we can also book a strategy session with you, right?
Yes. At the top, there's an option that you can click on that, and you can put your information in there, and my team will reach out to you, and we'll schedule a strategy session and see if we can help you get to your financial destination and goals and wishes and dreams and vision and all that good stuff faster than you thought possible.
I love that. So write this down, mindsetandmoneyrevolution.com. And because I know that once you hear Chad's altered moment, that you will want to have some time with him to help you with your own finances. So Chad, I know you alluded to your altered moment inspiring you to write this book. So tell us a little bit about your altered moment. Where were you when it happened? What was going on in your life at the time? And what happened?
All right. So it all starts with a backstory, but I'm going to unpack this so you fully understand where I'm coming from. It goes back to childhood. My mom was on this side of the spectrum, loving, caring. She still, if she gets anywhere near me, I'm getting a hug and a kiss, and she's going to grab my face and tell me how special I am. My dad was on the other side of the spectrum, stone cold hustling machine, all business, but he always stressed 3 points to me. Never take advantage of people, take up for people who are being took advantage of, and be happy for people, celebrate people's success. So I kind of have the both from my mom and my dad. I have a very protective spirit, and yet I'm a big time encourager and loving person. So as I entered into this adulthood, right, and we have responsibilities, and I start working and all of that, I realized really quick that I need to get into entrepreneurship. I need to be a business owner sooner than later. So that's when my journey began. And I like to tell people I climbed a lot of ladders. I did a lot of things. And those ladders always seem to be against the wrong building. Once I felt like I was getting a lot of good traction, there would be an obstacle or something would come up that was very unfulfilling. And I'm not going to go into all my endeavors that I went into. My wife laughs at me. I mean, it's crazy. I was a one-man circus, but they were pretty impressive ventures, if you will, and doing really well. But just something was missing on the inside. I finally got into the financial business in 2012, and I always wanted to know more. What are these people doing? What are they doing? What's the ultra wealthy do? And having come out of a field where I worked with the ultra wealthy, I kind of was curious. I always asked questions. How'd you get to where you were? What did you do? So I kind of learned their mindset. And then once I got into the financial services, I began to try to figure out, what are the ultra wealthy doing? What kind of money moves do they participate in? And is it different than the people who have money? What is their approach, right? So I started really studying that, and I stumbled across it. I'm like, wow. And I got so pumped up, yet a protective spirit was coming out. I'm like, why don't everybody know about these options? They're clearly so much better for them, but they don't know about it. So I started really kind of trying to connect the dots. And really, the truth is that it's not profitable to the financial industry for them to know all of these strategies. A lot of them had to do with tax strategies as well. So it's not really marketed. And I wrote a book in 2017 called Wake Up Your Retirement. And so I keep going, and just never really at the status that I want to be at. I was so focused on doing, and then maybe one day I'll be. I've got a family now. I've got 2 incredible boys, a beautiful wife, and all of a sudden COVID hit. And so I was like, man, everybody's scared. What are they going to do with their money? I was scared. But then this position opened up. And I thought that finally, this is the door. This is what I've been looking for. My driven, hardworking self. I'm knocking on all these opportunities. And finally, I think this is it, because I really enjoyed the financial industry. And so I got a position to where I actually put these financial models and blueprints together for advisors across the country who had ultra wealthy clients. I was able to put together a plan for an NFL team football owner. I put one together for the CFO of one of the top 3 retailers in the world. Now, I can't put that out on my marketing, but I can say that they were in that class. So do your research, whatever you want to do, right? So I'm finally in a spot where I'm earning off of other people's efforts. I can scale now. I had that potential. Well, I'm climbing the ladder once again, right, Kimberly? And all of a sudden, there's some conviction that starts kind of stirring up inside of me. And it was with the dynamic and the relationship in which the person I was working with. But I didn't want to recognize that. I didn't want to acknowledge it. So I suppressed that conviction, because this is the door that God had opened for me, right? And I'm climbing the ladder. And this is finally what I've always longed to be a part of. Well, finally, that conviction just overtook me. And so they had me in this position where I was getting paid a draw, which is a very small pay, until commissions started getting paid out. Now, I will tell you that it was almost like the commissions were a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what kept me going. All right, so this is where my story really starts taking place, and what this whole mindset and money revolution is about. I had to take out 2 personal loans just to get to the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so the light kept getting bigger and bigger as it pertains to commissions. It was at $110,000, $120,000. And I would pray every night, please, something pay out. Just something. I couldn't breathe. I just had so much burden on me. And so finally, I brought this to one of the leaders' attention, that I needed to see or ask if I could kind of reposition myself within the organization. I told him kind of how I felt. I didn't throw anybody under the bus, but just some ethical and moral things that I didn't feel comfortable with aligning myself with. So he agreed we can do that. And this was on a Sunday afternoon that I had that conversation. Monday morning, I started getting texts on my phone from people at the home office saying, Chad, where are you going? We love you here. Why did you resign? So obviously I didn't resign.
Wow.
And as I read that text, I started doing some preliminary, out of desperation. What does this mean? What does this mean for me? And I'd lost my opportunity. They let me go. So the very thing that kept I kept chasing or kept giving me energy, that source, that light at the end of the tunnel. I kept telling my wife, it's coming, it's coming. That light went completely out.
Wow.
So you've heard my story before, but I found myself going up to my bedroom, and I'm in my closet. I'm in a fetal position, realizing that the financial guy is financially broke.
Wow.
I have two, like I said, two boys who are heavily in sports. My wife, I never wanted them to feel that. I never wanted them to feel that. And I literally wept. I cried. It was the most scary, frightening thing I've ever experienced. And I begged for God to help me. And so I would tell people my entire life, for the most part, that I depended on God. But I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't know what it was like to depend on God until I had to depend on God. You see, I
Yeah.
had a divine disruption. And this is what I learned. As I'm weeping and I'm crying, I felt and I heard God say something to me, that I created you on purpose for a purpose.
Amen.
And I just tried to start getting myself together because I craved more of that. Where's this? Please talk to me again. I just felt his spirit speaking to me, and I wanted to hear that again. And as I sat in silence and just wanting to hear God's voice again, I can't explain this, but Kimberly, it's like he sat me down in a chair and was showing a slideshow of my life. And that slideshow kind of showed me that I've been living my entire life to be just like my dad. My dad had a house paid for when he was 35 years old, and he retired from his business that he had in his late 40s. We never lived a flashy life, but he was just really good with money and principles. But see, here's what I was doing. I was living my life in a panic mode because I was nowhere near to hitting those markers that he had hit in his life. And God was telling me, you've been living your life in panic mode because you're trying to be somebody that you're not. And I can't bless somebody that you're trying to be. I want to bless who I created you to be.
Oh, that's so powerful. Say that again.
I can't bless somebody that you're trying to be. I want to bless the person I created you to be.
Wow.
And I just sat there and that sank in. And listen, it's not a burden that was lifted from my shoulders. It wasn't something lifted off my chest. When I tell you, it literally came out of my pores, like another person almost came out. And see, my dad didn't put that on me. He didn't put that on me. I was obsessed. That's how I defined success, was what my dad did in his life. See, I was focusing on this deal and that partnership. And 5 years from now and 2 years from now, if this will just happen for me, then everything's going to be okay. I was hustling for benefit of my family. And there's nothing wrong with hustle. But it took me completely my focus away from the blessings that had been placed right around me, right there.
I love this. For me, my focus was similar. It wasn't on money necessarily. It was on accomplishments and do and win this swimming title and win that president's club and add this trophy to my bookshelf. And every time I would achieve something, I would be looking for the next thing.
Yep.
Because I wasn't fulfilled. So you are speaking my language. And I think so many of us especially in America, right? The greatest country on earth, the richest country on earth. We get caught up in our worth being about money
Yes,
and not who God created us to be.
that's right. 100%. And I'll tell you that I got off of the closet floor and my bank account was still empty,
Mm,
but my spirit was spilling over. I was a changed person. My heart had to break for him to do something new in my life. And it was all about surrender. And I'd heard that my whole life. Surrender, surrender. Let me tell you something. I never understood total surrender until I literally said, "Hey, I am yours."
isn't that
So,
what the altar is about?
yeah, that's it. That was it. It was a divine disruption, and money became a resource that day. It's not a
Mm,
source. Now money is used for influence and income for impact. It's provision for the vision. And so money, there's an infinitive amount of money out there, right? But
absolutely.
there's one purpose. And purpose is not a destination, it's a direction. And so I'll
Mm,
share this little quick verse that literally I didn't discover until after. It was Proverbs 19:21, and this was my life. Man has many plans, but God's purpose will prevail. Why even fight it? Get in line with what God has for you, and that's when you can truly, truly just experience that abundance that you've always heard about and that peace. And that's what true wealth is to me. It's an abundance of anything that you value, and it's about pursuing your purpose. And then God will unlock that potential. And let me tell you this, talent is different than a gift. And I believe that potential comes from the gift that God gave you. The gift is not earned, learned, or deserved. Talent, you can practice it, you can rehearse it, but that gift, when you totally surrender to Him, then He will unlock that potential, which is your gift. You will become fully present. You will be aware. You will start profiting in so many more ways than just external.
I
And
love
that's when you
this.
experience peace. Like literally, my life's changed because of it.
If you had to look back now at yourself back then, knowing what you know now after your altered moment, and you had some advice for yourself back then who was just running hard to get your bonus, running hard to get those commissions, um, and feeling desperate to provide for your family while you were running hard and feeling the pressure as the light just kept moving as you ran toward it, what would you tell yourself now, knowing what you know now?
I think I've heard Tim Story say this before, and it's amazing. Some things you go through and then you hear it. Somebody's already been there or dealt with it. But I was a human doing and not a human being.
I've definitely been a human doing for a lot of
Yeah.
my life.
And I heard this story, and I think it's great you asked me this question because I think it's very practical. I'm actually friends with the drummer of Little Big Town, Hubert Payne, and he told a story one time about, we have a bus. When we get in this adult life, we are assigned a bus, and we're going in a direction, hopefully that God's called us to. But sometimes we have all good, bad, and ugly experiences and people on that bus. The good, bad, and ugly. They're all on that bus. Sometimes we have people right behind us and we're letting them dictate which way we go. When we come to a crossroads, if you feel led to go left, but you have somebody on your shoulder tapping you and saying, we always go to the right here. We always go to the right. Who is on your bus and who are you letting tell you which way to go? Some people are letting somebody else drive their bus for them. Some people are letting situations drive their bus. Now, what you need to know is that's your bus, and you can tell people where they sit on your bus. So once you realize that, hey, this is my bus and I'm going to do what I want to do and what I'm called to do, you can tell some people that, hey, your seat's in the back of the bus. You don't want to kick them off the bus. But then if you still hear them, you can say, hey, there's a no talking policy on this seat too. Some people might want to put them on the bottom of the bus, right? But think about this. I think self-awareness is the biggest thing. That literally we're responsible and we've got to take action. There's 4 parts of our nature. And I always, this is the life-changing thing, I believe. We got to understand that it's mind, body, heart, and spirit. See, I was knowledgeable about all these money moves. I was knowledgeable about what the ultra wealthy are doing and how they were thinking. But I noticed that all this wealth was focused on net worth, but there was emptiness inside. And that was me. I was so focused on the knowledge that I wasn't pursuing who I was created to be. So think about that bus. Each one of those are tires. Think about a Corvette. Let's switch vehicles real quick. A Corvette, that's one of my favorite cars. That thing's a fast car, right? But if it's got a flat tire, how fast can it go now?
Not very.
All right, but guess what? It can still go. And if you ignore it, it'll eventually start tearing things up and damage can start happening. So you have to, am I pursuing who God created me to be? And when you feel that in the spirit and you truly are just surrendering to him and you're going in that direction, not focused on the destination, but focused in on the direction, empty me out so you can fill me up. Then that's when it's going to give you that heart's desire. Man, you got a desire to be who God wants you to be. See, it's feeding it. That's the fuel. And then you want to learn, right? And then you want to go out there and help more people. You can't shut me up, Kimberly. You can't shut me up. People need to understand that true wealth is both internal and external. And yes, I know the money moves of the ultra wealthy, but what I want more for people is I want people to build their wealth from the inside out. And it can happen and it can be done. And that is just letting God lead you to who he created you to be.
I love that that's how you define wealth. And I love that you keep that in mind when you are working with your clients.
Absolutely.
And I have a feeling that's what your book's about.
There's a lot to do with that. Yep, that story is pretty much the basis of it. I've got I've got my true wealth building pyramid that you start with the purpose, and then that unlocks the potential. You become present and you start attracting. Instead of chasing, you're attracting and you become profitable, both internal and external. And then you have peace. And we all want different things, but I think we all can agree that we'd love to lay our head down at night knowing that we're doing what we're called to do and who we're supposed to be. And that's true alignment.
Yes, that is true alignment.
Yes. So money definitely shouldn't dictate what you do, when you do it, and who you do it with, for sure. So,
and I love that you said money is the provision for the vision. Money is a tool.
That's right.
We use.
That's right. Yep. So that's my story. That's my altered moment, and it's very real. And I promise you now, my relationship with my family is completely different. And I'm right now, me just stuttering and all that stuff, I'm holding back, but I can't talk about my family a lot of times without getting choked up. It's because I truly am present now. I'm fully present. I'm where my feet are.
Love that.
And when my boys are around and they're talking to me, there is nothing else going on. And my wife as well. This is what it's all about.
That is what it's all about. And that's why we're here today, talking about altered moments, because we all struggle with something. And a lot of times we try to do it on our own. And, like you, the money couldn't come fast enough. And you were taking out loans and you were still focused on that. And you weren't able to focus on your family. And, when God alters, when God changes us, he alters our hearts and our minds. And I just want to encourage anybody who's listening today, if you are going through a tough moment, a tough time in your life, I would just encourage you to ask God for eyes to see and ears to hear where he wants to show up in your life. Eyes to see and ears to hear. We are here today because of a book that I wrote, Altered: Finding Hope Through Grit and Gratitude. And that has inspired me to see that God is still alive and well, working and changing lives. And so grateful, Chad, to you for telling your story. Everyone, please share this out. Money is a big thing that we focus on and struggle with, where we could all use an altered moment. Check out Chad's website, mindsetandmoneyrevolution.com. That's mindsetandmoneyrevolution.com. Sign up for a strategy session or pre-order his book. Most importantly, I just want to do a really quick shout out to somebody speaking about books. And that would be my daughter's friend, Heather, who featured my book on her Bookstagram account. And here's just a really quick view of her Bookstagram account. It's Get Booked with Heather. And again, it's Get Booked with Heather. She featured my book, so we know she's got good stuff on there. So like and follow her. Thank you, Heather, for your shout out to me. And Chad, do you have any final words before we close today?
You are created on purpose for a purpose. I just want you to believe that, know it, and that's where it all starts, is that belief that God has a plan for your life.
Yep. And they're good plans for a future and a hope, according
Absolutely.
to Jeremiah 29.
Yes.
Well, if you are not a reader and you're still looking for encouragement and inspiration, you can go to my website at kimberlyjstevens.com and you can sign up for my Altered playlist, which is over 4.5 hours of music that are designed to help you find hope. And in the meantime, find us again next Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And any final words, Chad?
I think you got it. I appreciate it. I look forward to anybody that wants to take their next step and book a strategy call with me. I'm here to help any way that I can. So thank you again for having me on here, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I love your story, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you Friday at 4:30 Eastern. And in the meantime, pray for eyes to see and ears to hear God working in your life.